morning. It is an extremely wet, windy and stormy Saturday, and I thought I would take advantage of the fact that I'm not going anywhere today to start a new weekend vlog. I actually intended to vlog all week. I was going to film from Monday to Sunday, talking about everything I get done in a week, writing-wise. But honestly, it just didn't happen. I didn't start filming until Tuesday, and then I was just too stressed to keep going. As I talked about in my last vlog, I am in the middle of getting a book ready for release, and I've actually now picked a pre-order date, which is the 19th of March. So at the start of this week, I was panicking a little bit about whether I was going to get it done. I'm not too worried about the book itself. I know what rate I am working through it at, and I think that is going to be done on time. But there's a lot of other marketing and background work to do, and that was taking far longer than I wanted it to. But by yesterday, which was Friday, I had officially caught up. I have ticked off every single marketing item for the week off my to-do list, which means I have got a really nice weekend ahead of me. I'm going to be doing more editing, of course, because that is my #1 priority. But I'm also going to be doing some outlining of Mythic War, the book that is part of my Write a Novel With Me series. And I also really want to catch up on some reading. I'm having one of those weeks where I seem to be just turning to kind of fantasy comfort reads. For me, this is always very traditional, high and epic fantasy, but not grimdark. So I'm currently reading The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. Honestly, I really want to read the Stormlight Archives because everyone is talking about that series, but I do feel I should finish Mistborn first. And I'm also reading a D&D tie-in book, which is Lesser Evils, the second Brimstone Angels book by Erin M. Evans. This is even more traditional fantasy. I've literally only read the prologue so far, but last night I opened up the thriller that I'm 2/3 of the way through, and I just couldn't face it. I have been working my way through this book for months, and I'm really kind of bored by it. It's by a very well-known author, and I've read one of their books before and quite enjoyed it. And I also do want to see how it ends, so I am struggling through. But I was just so bored and in need of something different. So that's the other book I've started this week. So I've got my coffee and we've got a weekend of writing and reading ahead. Is really yellow in here, but I can't do much about that. It's Saturday evening and it has been a really nice, relaxed afternoon. Our toddler actually had an afternoon nap, which she hasn't been doing much recently, and I took advantage of that to finish another chapter of editing. I have only got 3 more chapters left to finish this book. Well, there is then a proofread to do and formatting to do, but it will feel pretty much finished by the time I get to that stage. I've been managing 2 or 3 chapters most weeks, and whilst I would like to get the book finished by the end of the month, I have got time if I do need to use the first week of March as well. So I'm feeling pretty good about that, pretty confident. I've already got some pre-orders coming in, which really surprised me. I honestly only put the book up for pre-order so that I could get the link to the Amazon page and put it in a few places, in the back of the books, on my website. The last book in this series came out 3 or 4 years ago. I didn't honestly expect anyone at all to pre-order the 4th book. But some people have, and I feel genuinely honoured that they have remembered this series and want to read the last book. The other thing I've been doing today is trying to read. I have read about 20 pages of The Hero of Ages. I keep getting stuck in this weird reading mindset. I love to read, obviously, but when I do have any free time to myself at all, I always feel like I should be working. So today, when my daughter napped, I felt like I had to use that entire time to write or edit or do marketing. I ended up doing things like scheduling Instagram posts instead of reading. And yes, having a platform and being on social media is really important to authors, but reading is just as important. You can't write good books and you can't grow as a writer without reading widely and often. And I say this all the time, but I feel like I have to tell myself as well, because having those few quiet minutes and using them to sit down and read makes me feel really guilty. It doesn't feel like I'm being productive. It doesn't feel like I'm doing anything useful. And maybe it's because I enjoy it so much that it feels like I'm wasting my time. So I guess I'm just reminding myself here that that isn't true. Reading is never a waste of time, whether you're a writer or not. I could class it as work and research. I could equally class it as self-care. Both are very important, but I definitely do need to get better at treating reading as a priority and not feeling guilty when I do it. Because otherwise, quite frankly, I am never going to finish a book as big as this one. Hello, good morning. It's now Monday. I'm not quite sure where the weekend went. And I do actually feel like I took a proper weekend for once. I tend to treat every day the same, so I don't usually take time off on weekends. But I actually felt yesterday that I was doing pretty well on my to-do list. I had ticked off more than I expected. I also felt a bit under the weather, so I pretty much took the whole day off. Honestly, this is something I probably should do more often. I think it's unusual to work every single day and never even take one weekend day off. But I'm not working full 8-hour shifts or anything like that. and I love writing. I love all my creative projects, so it never really feels like a strain to work every day. But even so, I probably should take more time off. So we started yesterday morning by going for a walk. You will have already seen this footage. It was an absolutely beautiful spring day. And we had a drive down into a sort of hidden valley, which I hadn't even known was there. It was only 10 minutes away from home and you could still see our house from the top of the hill. We're in lockdown here in the UK. We're still not travelling any distance. Whenever we go for a walk that requires a short car drive, we're really not going more than a mile or two. But this valley was so close to home and it was so magical. I can't wait to go back there in the summer. And then in the afternoon, I actually had a nap, which is not something I do very often. And really, I spent the rest of my free time yesterday reading and relaxing. Overall, I read about 50 pages of The Hero of Ages and 1 chapter of Lesser Evils over the course of the weekend. Now, I know that doesn't sound like very much, but I'm a very slow reader. I like to take my time, really analyse and process everything, so I'm very thorough, but very slow. So 50 pages of an epic fantasy in a weekend was not bad for me. And like I said, I didn't really do any work. This should not be revolutionary, but it really was a very nice change. And that, I think, is where I am going to wrap up this weekend vlog. I had a really nice, relaxed, slow-paced weekend. I do not have them often enough. I made good progress on my editing work on Friday and Saturday. I found time to read. I went for a really lovely walk. And it feels a lot like spring here. All of those to me add up to a really nice weekend. So I hope you are all staying safe. I hope you all had a good week or weekend too. And as always, I hope you will keep reading and keep writing. I'll see you next time.